The math teacher pointed at Michael Santos like he was nothing, just the old maintenance guy who cleaned up after everyone, a joke to laugh at. But when Santos walked to the board, picked up the chalk, and solved the equation that stumped even the brightest students, it didn't just silence the room. It shattered everything they thought they knew about the quiet man who mopped their floors. Nobody could believe what they just saw, and nobody would ever look at him the same way again. It was third period at Westlake High in Portland, Oregon, the kind of school where students checked Instagram more than their textbooks. Ms. Harriet Powell had a reputation: strict, cold, quick with sarcasm that cut deep. Students feared her advanced calculus class more than they feared failing the semester. The classroom felt stiff. Equations covered the whiteboard. The air smelled of dry erase markers and teenage anxiety. Half the students stared at the clock, praying for the bell to ring. That's when they heard it, the familiar squeak of wheels in the hallway. Michael Santos, 58, pushed his cleaning cart past the open door. Same faded blue uniform he wore every day, same quiet focus, eyes down, just doing his job. Powell paused mid-equation. Her eyes narrowed. Then she smiled. "Well, look who's here," she announced, voice dripping with mockery. Perhaps Mr. Santos would like to demonstrate how to solve this problem. Laughter erupted. Not loud, but mean. The kind that makes your stomach twist even when you're not the target. "Come on in, Michael," Powell waved dramatically. "Show us what you know about differential equations." Santos stopped. He stood perfectly still for 3 seconds, mop in hand. Then he did something nobody expected. He stepped into the classroom. Students straightened in their seats. Phones emerged from under desks. This was going to be good. Santos placed his mop against the wall, walked slowly to the front. His work boots made soft thuds against the linoleum. "Mind if I—" He gestured to the marker. Powell's smile widened. "Please, be my guest." He took the marker, studied the equation, not hesitating, more like reading something familiar. Then Santos began writing. No flash, no showmanship, just precise, deliberate strokes. The room fell completely silent. The only sound was marker against whiteboard and someone whispering, "Is he serious?" Santos broke down the steps out loud. His voice was low, steady. "The trick here is identifying the inner function first. Once you do that, everything becomes clearer." He moved like he'd done this before, not just solved problems, but taught them. His tone wasn't smug. He explained things simply, clearly, like someone who understood both the math and how to make others understand it. When he finished, he capped the marker and stepped back. The board was filled with organized, perfectly executed work. He turned to Powell, then to the class. "That's one approach." Nobody moved. A student in back whispered, "He got it right." Powell's face froze. Her mouth opened slightly, but nothing came out. Santos nodded politely and walked back to the door. Picked up his mop. No applause, no boasting, just quiet confidence. Emma Jenkins, normally silent in class, blurted out, "Wait, did he just do that in his head?" Powell finally spoke, her voice flat, almost strained. "He got the correct answer." Santos glanced back. "Numbers and I go way back," he said with a small shrug. "They never really leave you." Students exchanged looks, not mocking him anymore, but wondering who exactly had been cleaning their school all this time. Santos left, wheels squeaking down the hall like nothing extraordinary had happened. The video appeared on TikTok before the bell even rang. Jada Monroe had filmed the whole thing. The caption, "Our janitor just destroyed our calc teacher." By lunch, everyone was watching it. The comments piled up. "Did you see Powell's face? Looked like someone unplugged her." "Where'd he learn that? Harvard School of Mopping?" "Yeah, who is this guy?" In the teacher's lounge, conversation stopped when Santos walked past. Science teacher Mr. Rivera asked physics teacher Dr. Lynn, "Is it true what happened in Powell's class?" "Apparently," Dr. Lynn said, "he solved a multivariable calculus problem without hesitation. He was writing his grocery list." Principal Waters frowned at her coffee. "He's been here for 8 years. perfect attendance record. No one ever mentioned he had an academic background. Powell sat alone at the far table, pretending to grade papers. She didn't join the conversation. Back in the hallway, a group of students approached Santos while he replaced light bulbs in the science wing. Alex Rodriguez, struggling in pre-calc, nervously asked, "Mr. Santos, do you tutor?" Santos paused, light bulb in hand. He looked at Alex like no student had ever really looked at him before. "I haven't in a long time." "You should," Alex said. "That was incredible." It wasn't just students who noticed. Teachers started watching Santos differently, nodding in hallways, making eye contact instead of looking through him. Miss Powell's mood darkened. She taught with her back to the class, voice tight and controlled. No more jokes, no more sarcasm. Just equations and silence. After class, Emma approached her desk. "Ms. Powell, the method Mr. Santos used, it's the same one you taught us last week, right?" Powell nodded once, yes, though he explained it better. She didn't look up from her papers. But the real shock wasn't what Santos did on the board. It was what he revealed afterward. Santos hadn't planned to become the center of attention. He preferred invisibility. The quiet routine of fixing things, cleaning messes, and going home unnoticed. Now students waited by his maintenance closet between classes. Teachers studied him in hallways. It felt strange, uncomfortable, like clothes that didn't fit right. He kept his head down, focused on tasks, replaced paper towels, fixed broken desk hinges, swept floors. But he felt the shift. The way people saw him had changed. Not just curiosity, respect, maybe even regret. It made him uneasy. Principal Waters called him to her office Thursday afternoon. Santos removed his cap as he entered, still wearing work gloves, stained with bathroom cleaner. "Santos, may I ask you something?" Waters leaned forward, hands folded. "Do you have a background in mathematics or education?" Santos hesitated, looked down at his boots, like brushing dust off something he'd locked away years ago. "I went to MIT, he said quietly. "Applied mathematics. Full scholarship." Waters' eyes widened. "You're serious?" Was," Santos said. "Had plans. Life happened instead." For the first time in years, he shared his story. Grew up in Oakland, single father raising 3 kids after their mother died. Santos was the oldest, smart kid who could solve complex equations by 3rd grade. His father believed in education like religion. "Books first," he always said. "The world will try to close doors, but if you bring your own key, they can't lock you out." Santos earned that key. Valedictorian, math competition champion, then MIT. But sophomore year, everything collapsed. His father had a massive stroke. Santos' sisters, just 13 and 15, needed someone. He took a semester off, then another, worked construction, drove delivery trucks, stocked shelves overnight. Bills never stopped. Neither did his sisters' needs. By the time his father died 2 years later, MIT felt like another life. No money to return, no advisors checking why he never came back. "I kept thinking I'd finish," Santos told Waters. "But one day becomes 1 year, then 10. Life doesn't pause for plans." At home, Santos kept his old textbooks in a storage box. MIT sweatshirt, calculator that cost a month's rent, family photo from move-in day. Never touched, never trashed. That evening, Santos sat on his apartment balcony, stared at the darkening sky. The math problem had awakened something he'd buried. Knowledge that hadn't faded, just waited. The next morning, a group of students waited outside the science lab. Alex, Emma, Jada, and 2 others Santos recognized from Powell's class. "Mr. Santos," Emma held up a notebook. "We're having trouble with these integration problems. Would you mind?" Santos looked around, confused. "We have study hall now," Jada explained. "We checked." Santos hesitated, then nodded. There in the empty lab, Santos sat with 5 teenagers and walked through calculus problems step by step. Not lecturing, talking with them, asking questions before answering theirs. Down the hall, someone recorded it. Santos didn't notice. In the administrative office, Waters received a call from the district superintendent. The original video had spread beyond Westlake. Local news picked it up, then a national education blog. Portland Janitor School's teacher at her own game. The headlines read. Comments flooded in. Get this man a classroom. Hidden genius. This is why we never judge people by their jobs. Some weren't thrilled about Santos' sudden fame. Ms. Powell read the email thread circulating among faculty. No subject line, just a link to the video and, in case you missed it. She closed her laptop without watching it. That afternoon, Waters called Santos back in. The district has a proposal. They'd like you to consider running an after-school math tutoring program. Small group, voluntary basis. Paid, of course. Santos didn't answer immediately. It's not about replacing your current position, Waters added. Just sharing what you clearly still possess. Santos looked at his hands. Calloused, strong, used to work, not chalk. I haven't taught in decades, he said. You haven't stopped knowing, Waters replied. That night, Santos pulled out the storage box, laid everything on his kitchen table. Transcripts, awards, recommendations from professors who'd once seen his potential. The papers had yellowed, edges curled, but the knowledge remained. That was the thing about math. The constant stayed constant. He didn't care about viral fame or comments from strangers, but making a difference? That pulled at something deep inside him. Meanwhile, not everyone welcomed his unexpected spotlight. The shift started with the students. They no longer passed Santos without seeing him. They waved, stopped to chat, asked for help. By the third week, an informal group formed what they called Santos Sessions. They'd gather in the library after school, notebooks open, heads bent, listening as Santos explained concepts with patience none of them expected. Teachers noticed too. Mr. Rivera from chemistry observed one session, nodding approvingly. You've got a gift, he told Santos afterward, not just with numbers. But Ms. Powell remained distant. In meetings, she spoke in clipped sentences. In hallways, she looked through Santos like he was invisible. The bitterness showed in her silence. When a parent asked about that math genius janitor during conferences, Powell's smile tightened. It's wonderful they're interested in mathematics. Let's ensure we maintain proper educational standards. The words sounded fine. The tone didn't. Principal Waters confronted her privately. I know this stung, Harriet. He's not qualified, Powell snapped. He's reaching students in ways none of us have, Waters countered. And that matters more than credentials. Powell had no response. Santos maintained his routine. Still arrived at 6 a.m. to check bathroom supplies. Still fixed broken locks and leaky faucets. He didn't want special treatment, but now he carried a small notebook. During lunch breaks, he'd sit alone sketching practice problems, writing explanations in neat, precise handwriting. One afternoon, Jada approached him in the cafeteria. Did you ever want to be a teacher? Santos considered before answering. I wanted to design aircraft. Teaching came later, then life changed course. Well, she handed him a new dry erase marker. You're doing both now. He smiled, simply, genuinely. Behind the scenes, tensions grew. Anonymous complaints reached the district office. Is it appropriate for maintenance staff to instruct students? Is he certified? Has he been properly vetted? Waters handled them firmly. Mr. Santos is a vetted employee with extraordinary qualifications. If safety were truly the concern, they'd have spoken with me directly. She never told Santos about these complaints. But he sensed the resistance, people uncomfortable with him stepping outside his assigned role. Then came the moment no one expected. Ms. Powell walked into the library during a Santos session. She stood silently at the back, watching as Santos guided 4 students through advanced integration techniques. After 15 minutes, she stepped forward. Mind if I join? The students froze. Santos looked up, expression unchanged. Long as you don't mind learning something. The tension broke as students laughed nervously. Even Powell's mouth twitched, almost a smile. They sat together that afternoon, said little, but it was a beginning. Over the next month, something remarkable happened. Powell began stopping by regularly, not to supervise, to observe. Sometimes she'd offer an extra challenge problem, sometimes just a nod of approval. The edge in her voice softened, the defensiveness faded. One day after the students left, Powell lingered. "You know," she said, looking at the whiteboard, "I used to think my PhD made me important, that teaching was about authority." Santos continued erasing equations, listening. "You reminded me what it's really about." Her voice quieted. "Showing up, making it count." Santos just nodded. "We all lose our way sometimes." By spring, transformation was evident everywhere. Santos' tutoring group had doubled. Test scores improved across mathematics classes. Even students who once hated math now approached it differently. There was Marcus, who nearly failed algebra first semester, now explaining polynomials to classmates. And Zoe, who used to tear up during tests, now leading mini sessions using Santos techniques. Waters approached Santos with a formal proposal, a stipend position for next year, leading an official math enrichment program. Santos shook his head. "I appreciate it, but I don't need titles. Let the kids come because they want to, not because it's scheduled." Word spread beyond Westlake. A local news crew requested an interview. Santos kept it brief, no dramatics. "I'm just showing them what they already have inside. Sometimes it takes time to see it." At the school's spring showcase, students created a display titled Santos Method. It featured their testimonials about finding confidence, not just in math, but in themselves. People no longer whispered, "Isn't he the janitor?" They said, "That's Mr. Santos." Even Ms. Powell stood beside him at the event, explaining to parents how his approach had transformed her own teaching. Later that night, Santos returned to his apartment. He took out his MIT sweatshirt from the storage box. This time, he didn't just look at it, he put it on. It still fit. Next, he pulled out a folder of student thank you notes, placed them carefully beside his old college acceptance letter. Legacy, he realized, isn't measured by titles or degrees. It's measured by what you leave inside others. Santos didn't need to finish school to teach. He didn't need a degree to make a difference. He just needed to show up every day and care, and that's exactly what he planned to keep doing. If this story moved you, if it reminded you of someone you've overlooked, or someone who believed in you when others didn't, hit subscribe and share this video with them. Because sometimes the greatest minds are hiding in the most unexpected places. What hidden talents have you discovered in people you once overlooked? Comment below.